Hey everybody, thank you so much for being here. My name is Peppa. You probably know me as Peppa Llama. This is another recording from my blog on my website, which is peppalama.com. As I shared in the previous video, I'm going to start recording these blog posts in this format to share the content in a different way. If you're anything like me and you don't like reading on a screen and you're looking to minimize your screen time, which is something that I encourage everybody to do, I'm offering it in this way so that you can listen to the original post instead of having to sit and stare at the screen and read it. So my intention for sharing these is that it's an invitation for things that have inspired me in my creative life. And that's what I'm here as your creative guide to do, is to share with you things that have inspired me, share them as inspiration. And if it sparks something in you, if you find it inspiring, my wish is that you're going to take that information and run with it and make it your own. I always encourage self-study. So if there's something here that I've shared with you that inspires you, I encourage you to go and deep dive it on your own. I can't do the work for you, but I can definitely guide you towards inspiration, and that's what I'm here to do. I can't do it for you, and only you know how the best way for you to study is. So however that comes up for you, whether you want to go online, whether you want to perhaps watch a documentary, perhaps you want to go to the library and take out some books, whatever way is the most meaningful for you to do self-study, for you to educate yourself on anything that I share here, that is my wish, is that you're going to take it and make it your own, because really that's what inspiration is all about. I can show it to you as an invitation. If it sparks something in you, run with it and make it your own. So today's recording is a blog that I originally wrote back in January, and it follows on from the previous video that I uploaded here about the importance of Theta brainwaves for the creative state. And this blog post is titled The Art of Flow, How Theta Brainwaves Connect My Lifestyle to Taoist Philosophy. So as you know, part of my curator life that is a work of art philosophy is very much guided by the wisdom of the Tao. So that's going to come up a lot in everything that I speak about, and especially in these recordings. So let's get started on the original blog post, and I'm going to start reading it now. So recently I've come to the realization about the connection between my lifestyle and the Theta brainwave state and Taoist philosophy. So it's kind of a trilogy. Through the work of Dr. Greg Wells, I've gained a deeper understanding of how these naturally occurring brainwaves, which are associated with creativity, intuition, and relaxation, are based in science, and how they align perfectly with many of my daily practices and passions. So Dr. Greg Wells is a scientist and a psychologist. I'll put a link to some of his work in the notes below. He's done some wonderful research on the Theta brainwave state, and I encourage you to do some research of your own about everything that he's put out. He's got some great content on YouTube. He's got some great talks. He's got blog posts, things on his website. He's a great resource if you're looking to learn more about the Theta brainwave state and how it relates to creativity. Sound can be one of the most subtle yet profound creative wellness practices to work with, as sound transmits vibrations that our body physically responds to. So as it says here, Theta brainwave state is a vibrational state. You see the sound waves as they move through the brain. If you want to have a look at the scientific photos around it. So it aligns with the same waves of sound. So sound, as I says here, can be one of the most subtle yet profound ways to get yourself into this state. Many sound healing practitioners tune their instruments to 432 Hertz, and that frequency is often described as the natural tuning of the earth. This frequency is also associated with the Theta state. So this idea suggests that when we are immersed in sound at this frequency of 432, our bodies and energy fields begin to resonate with the earth itself. We're literally grounded to the earth. And when you hear people say, "Oh, I'm feeling grounded," that's what they're talking about. It gets you into a very deep state of relaxation. And as we've spoken about, that's where creativity flows naturally. So everything in the universe is vibrating. Everything vibrates at a frequency. And when we talk about energy, we're talking about movement as vibration. And this might sound like, you might be like, Pepper, what are you talking about? Are you like going off on some sort of like a woo, like tangent here? This is actually based in science. This is physics. This is legit information. I'm not like going to be burning sage and talking to the crystals or anything. Like this is legitimate information. This is based in science and it's physics. And I encourage you to do the research on this, because once you start understanding all of these things, it's actually really, really profound for your creativity. So what are theta brainwaves? Theta brainwaves occur during deeply relaxed states like meditation, daydreaming, or light sleep, where the conscious and subconscious mind overlap. These brainwaves foster creativity, intuition, and a sense of timeless flow. So the concept of flow, which is often described as being fully immersed in an activity, when you think about that word flow, think about if you're in a flow state and how that feels and what that means. It's being fully immersed in an activity. It closely mirrors the theta state. And what's fascinating is that many of my favorite activities naturally bring me into this state. Once I started learning about it and then I started looking at my life, I was like, wow, I'm actually getting myself into this state quite often. I always knew what it was, but I never had the terms or the scientific explanation to articulate it. And so that's why I'm sharing it here with you. And as I say here, to dive a little deeper, there's a really interesting 10-minute video by Dr. Greg Wells on YouTube, and I'll put it in the notes below for you to check out on your own time. So how my lifestyle aligns with the theta brainwave state. Throughout my creative life, I've unknowingly dipped into the theta state through activities that connect me to nature, creativity, and presence. So have a think about your own life and your own activities and the passions that you enjoy. Think about, are you doing anything on a regular basis, and I'm sure you are, that is connecting you to nature, that naturally brings you into that relaxed, creative state and where you feel very present or grounded? Just take a moment to think about those things and some of the activities that you do. And I'm sure you can probably think of a few, and I'll share the ones that I do on a regular basis that naturally bring me into that state. For me, it's painting. Obviously, as a visual artist, I often lose track of time when I'm painting. I become so immersed in what I'm doing and feel truly connected to my work and the wall I'm painting on. The act of creating quiets my mind and allows my intuition to take over. It's a meditative process where I feel completely aligned with the flow. So if you're a visual artist and you participate in anything that I've just said there, whether you like to paint, you like to draw, whatever your medium is, but I'm sure you've probably been in that state before you knew what the scientific explanation was, before you knew what the name for it was. You've probably been there. And now that I'm saying this, it might spark some sort of an aha moment for you, like, oh yeah, I actually do dip into that state quite often, especially when I'm in painting mode, when I'm in creative mode, when I'm immersed in the wall, when I'm immersed in my project. I do dip into that state naturally. So have a think about any creative activities that you participate in, especially if it's something that you're doing with your hands and you're really concentrating on what you're doing. You're probably dipping into a theta state. Walking in nature is another wonderful way to do it. There's something about walking barefoot on the earth that grounds me and connects me to the natural rhythm of life. And again, it comes back to that grounding, being in tune with that frequency of 432 and just being part of the natural world. It naturally just down regulates your system and gets you into that state. And listening to the sounds of nature is incredibly calming to the human nervous system. As you know, if you walk by the ocean and you hear the sound of the waves lapping on the shore, if you hear birds passing by and singing, you hear the wind blowing, these will just naturally bring your body into a relaxed state, and I encourage you to do it often. Walking in the natural world quiets your mind and your thoughts and brings a sense of peace and feels effortless. So go out for a walk in nature when you feel like you just need to, take a break, relax, bring some fresh inspiration into your life. Go for a walk in nature. I can't encourage it enough. Surfing. So sitting on my surfboard in the ocean, feeling the waves beneath me is another way I drop into this flow state. Surfing is pretty much the ultimate way to be in flow. You're literally flowing on the ocean. Surfing requires both surrender and presence. perfect alignment with the Theta state and the Taoist principle of Wu Wei, which we can dive into more if you're interested in Taoist philosophy. Wu Wei is the concept of effortless action. There is nothing quite like flowing with the ocean. And as they say, only a surfer knows the feeling. So anybody that surfs knows exactly what I'm talking about, but you don't need to be a surfer to understand the power and the beautiful rhythm of the ocean. You just need to sit by it, watch the waves, listen to the sounds, and just immerse yourself in that space. The ocean is an incredibly inspiring place to be for a creative person. Also, riding horses, connecting with a horse is another profound experience of this flow. You're connecting with a natural being in the natural world. Riding demands a balance of trust, intuition, and being fully present in the moment, creating a state of harmony between the rider and the horse. And anybody who loves horses knows exactly what I'm talking about. Journaling. Writing is another way that I access this relaxed and creative state, and it's how I start my mornings every morning. I encourage you to join the 365 Tao Book Club if you're interested in this. Journaling lets my thoughts flow freely and often leads to insights and clarity I didn't know I had. I encourage everybody to have a journaling practice. It's an incredible tool for your creativity, and it's a wonderful way to start your day. Sound baths. This is one of my favorite ways to access the Theta state, and I personally love the sound and experience because it's a full body experience. You're not just listening with your mind. This is a full body experience and you embody this state, and I really encourage everybody that has the opportunity to go and participate in a sound bath. The experience of a session with the crystal singing bowls that are tuned to the 432 frequency is incredible. Meditating in this environment is incredibly powerful, and I encourage you all to go out and do it. If you don't have a meditation practice, that's a whole other conversation, but I really, really encourage you to get into meditation if you don't already have a practice, and doing it with the sound bath, like being in that state with the vibrational energy of the bowls, with that healing sound, and being in that meditative state is very, very profound. I really encourage you to get out and have that experience if it's available to you. And so how does this connect to Taoist philosophy? So Taoist philosophy emphasizes living in harmony with the natural flow of life. We're human beings, we are part of nature, and of course, what we really want is to be flowing with the natural world because we are part of the natural world. The Tao teaches us to surrender control, embrace simplicity, and trust in the unfolding of the universe. The Tao is all about being in flow. This resonates deeply with the Theta brainwave state, where resistance fades, you're not forcing anything, creativity flows, and connection to the present moment becomes effortless. You want to be present, you want to be grounded. That's all about being in this Theta state, and it's very, very aligned with the Taoist philosophy. So by engaging in activities that encourage the Theta state, I'm also living in alignment with the Taoist principles. Painting, surfing, walking, sound baths, riding horses, journaling, these are all ways to connect with natural flow, both within myself and then with the world around me. So if you want to learn more about this, I encourage you to join the 365 Tao Book Club. It's in a subscription on my Instagram page. We meet every morning, we read a page on Taoist philosophy, and we journal about it. Understanding the science behind these experiences has deepened my appreciation for them. As I said, I was dipping into this state for many, many years before I actually knew what it was, and before I actually knew that it was based and grounded in science and physics. The realization that these activities are more than just passions or hobbies, they're helping me access a state of creativity, intuition, and connection, and that's been very transformative for me. And I hope that this information, as I said, I hope that you take this on board. I hope you do your own study, and I hope you start to realize like how profound this can really be for your creativity and just for your wellness in general. It's wonderful, wonderful information that I really hope that you run with. It's also made me more intentional about seeking out these moments and prioritizing the practices that get me into alignment with this flow state. And hopefully now that you understand it, you're going to be doing that too. So in many ways, my lifestyle has been a quiet embodiment of both Taoist wisdom and Theta brainwave activation. And I was doing that without even knowing it. The connection between these two feels like a profound revelation, one that has given me both clarity and a renewed sense of purpose. And so what about you? Are there activities in your life that bring you into this natural flow state? That's a great question to ask. Just have a think about everything that I've said. And as I said, think about your routine. Think about your passions. Think about your hobbies. Is there anything that you're doing in your life right now where you dip into this state? Perhaps you didn't know what to call it. Perhaps you didn't know the scientific evidence behind it. But I'm sure if you've done any of these activities that I mentioned above or some of your own, I'm sure you can identify with having been in this state before. The more I reflect on this, the more I realize that these moments are really, really important to living in harmony with ourselves and the natural world. And in doing so, we're curating a life that is a work of art. So hopefully this has inspired something in you. This has been a really important revelation for me in my lifestyle, in my philosophy of curate a life that is a work of art. We always want to create an environment for ourselves where creativity is going to flow through us effortlessly, with ease and that fluid flowing state, not in a forced state whatsoever. So the more you can understand this state of the Theta brainwaves and how you can connect to it and how it can unlock your creativity, I guarantee it's going to be a really, really profound revelation for you. And once you understand it, once you start doing the research, and once you start putting it into practice, like actually living it, you're really going to feel the benefits. So I encourage you to incorporate this Theta state into your daily practices as often as you can. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to learn more about my philosophy and my work, I'm Peppa Lama pretty much everywhere on all the socials. You can go to my website, peppalama.com. You can also work with me. I'm a creative guide and I can help you towards curating a life that is a work of art. Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful day and I'll check in with you soon.